Hi there, this is Nathan Lehman from the Ultra Running Company, and today we are going to be reviewing the Hoka Mach 2. Let's jump right in. We've been watching the evolution of the Mach since it was originally called the Hoka, which evolved into the Clayton 2, then the Mach, and now the Mach 2. And throughout the entire time, I'd say this is the most significant evolution of the shoe. And there's a couple things about it that really catch our eye. But we're going to start with the basics. First of all, this is a low drop shoe, which means that the heel is not much higher than the forefoot. So for in this particular shoe, you're looking at a 22 millimeter overall stack height for women, 23 for men. And you're looking at a 5 millimeter drop, so extra cushion under the heel. So what that means is that on the heel of the men's version, you're looking at, give or take, about 28 millimeters of cushion under the heel. We've measured a couple different Machs, and depending on size, that amount of overall cushioning varies just a hair, but in all of the ones that we've measured, it's been right at that 5 millimeter drop. So definitely what you know is that you're going to get a little bit of extra cushion under the heel versus under your forefoot, and a little bit of forward lean on the shoe. So one of the interesting things that Hoka's done with this shoe, actually in my mind the most interesting thing that they've done with this shoe, is they've extended the midsole and used the same material, what they call their Pro-Fly material. They've used that same material throughout the entire bottom of the shoe. So this is really unique in that there is no long wearing rubber on the bottom of this shoe. In fact, the entire shoe is long wearing rubber just by design and by the materials that it's made up with. When they first started using what at the time they called R-Mat, now they have called it R-Bound. I'm not exactly sure what trade name they're working with because it looks like they're trying to make sure it's okay to call it R-Bound. But basically what that is it's a mixture of midsole cushioning and high wear carbon on the bottom. They've taken those two materials and kind of put them together. This is one of these new age materials that tries to combine the best of all worlds. And this is the first shoe that Hoka has gone completely sans any carbon rubber on it. In the past, we've seen shoes like the Elevon, the Clayton, that have had a lot of that R-Mat in the bottom, and then just small tactical pieces of longer wearing carbon rubber. In this case, they've gotten rid of it entirely. They feel like the amount of cushion in this shoe, the way they've done it, allows them to do so and get you the long life that you're looking for, as well as the cushion. So on the note of the cushion, the Pro-Fly technology allows Hoka to make a softer cushion in the heel and then adjust to a firmer cushion in the front. And what does that mean? Well, it means that if you're going to land on your heel, usually when you're further up or when you're landing in front of your body, you're going to get good shock absorption out of this heel. You've got that 28 or so millimeters of cushion, and it's going to be kind of a softer, pillowier feel in the heel. And then as it transitions forward, that pillowy nature, they increase the durometer of the measurement of the rubber and make it denser so that it actually gives you a little bit of spring off the toes. So think soft, pillowy cushioning, transition through, springy step off the front. And the nice thing about that is that as with every Hoka, you've got that rocker. And the rocker is the shape of the shoe kind of from the metatarsals forward. That rocker allows you to roll forward and then get a nice spring off. So this shoe really, it rewards the midfoot to forefoot striker with a soft kind of athletic bounce, and it creates kind of a margin for error for folks that are landing on their heel with a softer landing there. So really interesting technology. They never quite explained to us how they do it, but I know in practice the feel on the heel is very different from the feel on the forefoot. Speaking of that feel, the first time I put these shoes on, they were a little bit cold, and the first half mile I ran in this shoe honestly was not the best half mile I've run in any shoe. It felt like the underfoot, like there almost wasn't enough cushion for a Hoka in that area. This is one of their kind of they're pillowy versions, so not what you'd expect from a Hoka. This is a much faster kind of speed work type shoe. And so it really felt pretty firm under the forefoot. And what I noticed is that it really opened up from about a half mile on. Anytime I've gone over about 5 miles in this shoe, it's felt fantastic. Anything from that half mile up to about 5 really starts to give you that springy feel and the bounce that you're looking for. It kind of makes you want to run further in the shoe than you would have thought originally, but you do have to get through that the first few steps in the shoe where you're really kind of coming down. It's not, for me personally, it wasn't giving me the type of rebound that I'd hoped for. So went from being a little disappointed for the first half mile to being really excited for the remainder of the run the first time. Now I'm just used to it. It's what I expect of the shoe, and I know that it takes a little bit to get going. So what's really fascinating about this shoe is the weight of it. Because they've gotten rid of all that carbon rubber, because they've tried to make it as light as possible. You see the large carve outs on the bottom. The shoe comes in for women at 6.6 ounces and for men at 8 ounces, which is exceptionally light for such a highly cushioned shoe. In my size 13 boats, we came in about 9.5 ounces. So anything under about 10 ounces is a great place to be as a running shoe. Moving up to the upper of the shoe, that 9.5 ounces is achieved by the fact that not only is this Midsole Superlight, they've also done everything they can to lighten up the upper. I mean, this is soft, it's breathable, feels pretty fantastic. If you look really closely, and I don't know if you can see this, they've even got holes in the tongue of this thing to reduce some weight. So it's an exceptionally light shoe. Some people will get a little bit of wear up here on the edge here because it is because there isn't a lot of padding on it. That seems to break in as well really quickly on the shoe. After 40-50 miles, it's almost non-existent. It's just a small flap there that is easy to get used to. The one major issue about this shoe, one of the reasons we like the Mach is because of the shape. Really somewhat narrow in the heel, really gives you that nice tight cup on the heel, although it does not have heel support, a heel cup on it, a traditional heel cup. It really holds you in quite well on the shoe, as well as over the instep, you're going to get a very nice kind of a lock in on your foot. But what we like about the Mach and what we liked about the Clayton before it, both the Clayton 1 and 2 and the Mach 2, is that they've got a nice wide forefoot on here. The original Mach, the past generation, was quite a bit narrower, made it tough for folks with a wider toe box, with folks with a wider need for a wider toe box. But they've gone back with this, with the Mach 2, and really made it generous right through here. It still comes to a taper, so if you have a very kind of squared off foot, this may not be the shoe for you. But for folks with just a little wider forefoot, really quite comfortable. Hoka may have overshot the mark a little bit there. Generally speaking, when we try this shoe on folks at Ultra Running Company, we're going down about a half size. I see that really consistently in reviews across the spectrum. Really urge you to try this shoe on in a running store, because that suggestion to downsize half a size is not universal. While I felt that the shoe was a little bit big for me in my traditional size 13, I chose to run in it and really felt that it was the right size for me. It just seemed like there was a lot of material up front. So if you're okay with the look of the material kind of creasing a little bit when you run, you may stay true to size. If that's an issue for you, you can probably go down half a size. It might feel like it's a bit more, and you're probably not going to lose any distance in the front. You're still going to have plenty of room for your toes if you go down half the size. So personal preference there. As always at Ultra Running Company, we like to leave lots of room in front of your toes, half an inch to an inch, to give you that kind of feel. We actually took a second to look up on the Hoka website, and this shoe is probably one of their lower ranked shoes on the site right now. It gets 3 stars. Typically when you're on a running shoe website, you're going to see 4 or 5 stars out of it. I really think the 2 things contributing to that are the sizing issues, as well as that initial kind of stiff feeling in the forefoot. But if you give this shoe a chance, I think this is much more than a 3-star shoe. We don't give stars on this, but it's a shoe that I enjoy running in everything from about a 5K right up to a marathon. I would happily run 26.2 miles in this. It's not a shoe like the Clayton and the Clayton 2, where you could use it a little bit off-road. As you look at the tread, this is definitely a road shoe. So again, great product. Costs $140, right in the middle of the Hoka spectrum on it. and we think a pretty good value. We expect this R-bound or whatever material they're trying to call it these days to last quite a while. If you're getting 400 to 500 miles on a typical shoe, you should expect to get at least that. Be aware though, when you wear it, that this shoe material will wear down. You can still use it after it's worn down. This is mostly cosmetic for road running shoes, so we see this wear out pretty often. We always suggest that people wear it longer. We hope you liked the review. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments section, and we look forward to talking with you all soon. Thanks again.